What's going on, guys? I'm Renegade. And yes, I'm in my kitchen instead of in my garage or out in the driveway working on cars and anything like that, or even in the studio. A little bit of a change of pace. That's because I'm actually going to be doing a project which is both for my house and my garage. Let me explain. Now, as I've stated before, I've been doing YouTube for a little while here, and I'm trying to do more with it, which is a lot of fun. And obviously I'm working on my garage, trying to make that better too. So this is kind of a project for me, which is going to be for both of those things. So I'm in kind of a unique and cool position right now, as I own my house. And I live in an old school Victorian farmhouse. And I mean, like, legitimately, this house was built in 1880. A lot of work has been done to it by the previous owners, by my parents who owned the house before me, and now by me. So I get to do some kind of quasi-zany, or at least not normal, projects to make the house my own. So it's kind of a cool fusion of like old school Victorian and classic look and more artistic. Because luckily for me, both myself and my fiance are artists. Like I said, I do live with my fiance, my future bride, and although she's a bit camera shy, she is incredibly supportive of what I want to do and of me making YouTube videos. So with it being unique and with the nature of what I am doing, trying to make, YouTube videos more often, this is going to be a very useful project and something that frankly I've wanted to do for a while. And partly because I'm a nerd. So one of the things I did was, this door didn't used to be here. The door that was here, I needed to replace. It was falling apart. It lived a rough life. I'll give them that another video. So when I put this door in, I was trying to make it a little more unique. And we had these pub glass doors from an old cabinet, or an old hutch, I guess. So I decided to use those, but because I'm insane and I thought it'd be a cool idea, I actually made it so that if you undo the latch and open the door, you can see down into the garage, which is great because if Stacy wants to say something to me while I'm down in the garage, all she's got to do is open the doors and there you go, rather than having to open the big door, run the risk of the cat getting out. And it's cold and sometimes it's a little dirty down there because, car, motorcycle parts, construction, sawdust, yada, yada, yada. That was something cool that I did, and so it's been incredibly useful. I mean, Stacy loves that door. She loves the fact that she can just open up the window to talk to me without having to go down physically into the garage. Sometimes when you're recording videos, you don't want to be disturbed, you don't want to be interrupted, and you kind of want to give people the heads up of, hey, I'm shooting down here. Maybe, unless there's an emergency, let it wait. So today, we're going to install, straight out of Full House and Uncle Jesse's repertoire, a light to let people know, by people I mean basically Stacy, unless I have guests over, that I'm recording downstairs. No, this is not a necessity. This is me being goofy and nerdy, but it will also be helpful. Now, I will put this out there that one, I'm not a licensed nor professional electrician. I mean, I do electrical work at my job, but that is not my main job. So, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Also, while I am doing a unique project, and that I'm putting up a solid light fixture and things like that, some of this stuff can be utilized as a how-to if you want to install a light fixture. So if you're looking at this as being a how-to on electrical work, cool, awesome, glad I can be helpful. And if you're just watching because you want to see what is Renegade gonna do today, weird stuff for his garage, even better. Remember, if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Because I am, like I said before, trying to work on that garage, making it cooler and better, and I got a bunch of car projects and motorcycle projects, and I'm just a weirdo. So cool. So you have to mind, don't mind the kitchen. It's kind of a mess, but it's a working kitchen. Like, we make dinner here. This isn't MTV Cribs. I didn't clean up first. What I got today, this. A small wall lantern. Now you will see that it does say exterior right here, but basically exterior means it can be used for exterior or interior. Because if it can work outside, it can work inside. You can't flip that. Like, interior lights don't work outside, but exterior lights work inside. But this is actually the look that I want to get. And this was actually only, I think it was what? Like 15 bucks at Home Depot? I got a work box or a fixture box, whatever you want to call it. And got a light switch, which will go in it. And of course, wire nuts. If you're watching this video as a how-to, know that you're going to need a drill with a drill bit that is big enough for your wire, wire strippers, screwdriver, and obviously a tape measure and a writing implement. Said some of this can be transferred over to projects that you guys might be doing it. Some of it might be just unique because of what I'm doing. I'm probably going to need a step stool as well. Now, because this is the dress side of what I'm doing, my project, I want to take my measurements here. I'm not as worried about the other side because it's my garage and I'm not super worried about making it look super fancy. But this is the kitchen, this is the side you would normally see, so this is the part I actually care about. What I did was I just marked out the center of this top board, my trim board, so that I can mount my light fixture center there. Now, with any project, obviously prep work is the most important part because you don't want to mess up and realize that you goofed up down the road. You want to just be able to do the project. And what I'll show you is, what I did was I marked the center of this board. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's right there. But I take my light, and if I eyeball it center, my light fixture is actually bigger than this board. So, since that's the case, I'm actually going to cheat it upwards a little bit because you can't see from down on the ground that it sits too high, but it looks flush down here. Now, using the bracket that they sent me, that's actually the mounting point, I can mark it off so I know where it's supposed to be. But again, I put the bracket on the center. Now, if you know anything about doing electrical work, you know that we got to get a wire in here. Now, the wire is actually going to come from the other side of the door, so I'm going to have to drill a big hole through this, which is always fun. But obviously, we can't use that center mark, so I'm actually going to cheat it over to the side a little bit. I'll drill my hole there so my wire can come through and past this bracket. Before you go drilling holes in your wall, like I'm about to do, make sure there's nothing behind it, you know, like electrical wires that you're gonna hit with this. I know there's not. All right, so now comes the fun part. Because I did this wiring before, I know this is a hot wire. Although it's currently not hot, I turned the breaker off. So, remember, if you're doing electrical work, make sure your wires are not hot. It's not exactly fun getting shocked. So I have this length of wire, which is a different piece of wire than the one that I fed through the hole up there. This one I'm going to use from this, which I know is hot wires. Although it's not hot right now, I turn the breaker off. If you're doing electrical work, always turn off your breaker. But this is normally hot and not controlled by a switch. So what I'm going to do is, I fed it through into the box. I'm going to wire it into these wires. And this will be my feed wire for my switch, which will then control the light. This is all pretty obvious and pretty easy. White to white, black to black, copper to copper. Easy. This is 12-2 wire, I should make mention of, for any of you guys that are out there that know all this detail. This 12-2 wire, which means it's got 2 power wires and a ground. Now, if you're like me, you want to test everything before you put covers on, just be on the safe side, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to move forward and put in my light switch. Light switches are very easy. All you got to remember is the black that gets split. So in the box, I'm going to tie white to white and then black to one side of the light switch and black to the other side of the light switch. That's it. I will say that I always put a hook in my wire when I got to put it into put it on the screw. I know you can go straight in with it, but I always feel a little better with this, going around the screw with a hook rather than just pushing it in and cinching it tight. I can go back inside. Now again, my breaker is still off, so this wire is definitely not hot. However, even if my breaker was on at this point, as long as my switch is hooked up correctly and the switch is off, I should have no power here, but it's still a good idea just to, if any questions at all, just turn off your breaker. In here is gonna be real easy. Our light fixture has all the wire right here. Now I've got my wire already here. So now all I gotta do is wire this to that, which again is pretty simple. It's black to black, white to white, copper to copper. And yeah, so electrical work, really easy. Obviously I already put up my bracket, so I know it's ready to go. All I gotta do is wire this and then put the whole thing up, and then I'm done. Now one thing I do like to do in things like this is there's this little green screw here. It's labeled as being a ground. I'm actually going to wrap the wire around that screw and then tighten it down on the bracket just for a little extra protection. For those of you who don't know, copper is your ground. At least in house wiring. Normally automotive wiring you see black as being the ground. With house wiring, black is hot. Go figure. Now with the fixture up and in, I'm gonna put a light bulb in, test it, turn the breaker back on, and let's see what happens. Now if I did everything right, when I hit the light switch, that light should come on. Sweet. So now I'm just gonna button everything else up. That's cool, right? But obviously, I used the first bulb I had my hands on, and a white bulb isn't quite the same as the classic red light to indicate recording. Like that. Also got this over at Home Depot, like $5. It's a red LED light bulb. Let me just take this one out. Save that for later. Reach on in. And God, that is bright. That's awesome. Have mercy. Oh, that is cool. Like I always say, I'm a giant nerd, so things like that to me is just cool. I mean, it's goofy, it's relatively unnecessary, but at the same time, this will be very useful to me and very useful for my future bride. I hope you guys all like it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below. So that's going to do it for me for today, guys. I'm real happy about that. But until next time, y'all keep rocking and rolling. I'm going to keep taking care of business. I'll see you next one.